Right. Thumbs up. Can everyone see our first slide? All right, great. So for today, for this virtual interest meeting, the things that we're going to talk about are a couple of our programs that we have in the Coastal Student Success Center. The first one is our brand new COAST program, the Coastal Opportunity for Academic Success and Transformation. So for any of you on this call that might have been familiar with other programs that we had one called the Coastal Excellence in Leadership program, called our SEAL, it was SEAL program, and we had CNO Accelerate. CNO Accelerate has we've kind of put it to bed for just a little bit. But the COAST program is kind of us, giving a new facelift to the SEAL program. So we'll go over that in just a little bit. After we go over the COAST program, I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Tollison. He's going to talk about our bridge program that we have between Coastal Carolina University and Horry Georgetown Tech. And then after that, we're going to hand it over to Dr. Debbie Connor, where she'll briefly go over her brand new bachelor's degree program in higher education and community engagement that also has a couple of minors. And then we'll just open it up to questions. So as far as the COAST program, what is the COAST program? It's an academic and leadership program that actually is going to span an entire first year of a student's time here at Coastal. This program grants conditional admission to students who fall just below Coastal's admission requirements, and it provides additional academic support and personal support to students. Let me back up for a little bit. I was bringing folks into the chat. It provides additional academic and personal support through student peer leaders. So we've hired student peer leaders to work with students in the program. We have professional academic coaching specialists, and then they also get to meet with Coastal's faculty and staff, and they're cohorted in some of their courses, not all of them, but some of them, just to help them get through that transition to Coastal, kind of between Coastal and high school. And it really helps them with their academic and professional goals. So what are some of the benefits of the COAST program? First of all, early arrival to campus. We have students come almost a week early, and with that, they get to work with their peer leaders that'll be in the program. They get to meet their academic coaching specialist, which will be their personalized success team. Another benefit is they will enroll in specific, like designated courses through the Coastal Student Success Center that focus on academic goal and skill development, leadership, personal and social development, university transition. They get to learn about all the campus resources, and then some financial and digital literacy. Also, they get to participate in academic skill development workshops, major and career exploration programs, and then unique campus and social engagement events. Now, all of that, they get to participate, but, you get what you would out of a program, what you put into it. So we have those available. Those aren't necessarily mandatory. We also have campus and community service and leadership opportunities for students in the COAST program. We have campus partners with sustainability and coastal resilience. We also have a partnership with our United Way of Horry County. And lastly, one thing that we pride ourselves in is students that go through this program, we give them the academic support they need. So they hopefully at the end of that freshman year, they earn an invitation to join the National Society of Leadership and Success. It's our nation's largest leadership honor society. To be invited, a little bit about NSLS. I'm one of the advisors. We've had a chapter here at Coastal since 2021. Right now, we have a little over 3,000 members. For a student to be invited into this organization, they need to have a 3.0 and 30 credit hours. So essentially, we're hoping at the end of the freshman year, students have earned what they need to be invited into NSLS. This chapter actually provides a lot of campus service learning and leadership opportunities. There's a lot of scholarship opportunities. Recently formed a partnership with United Way of Horry County, and we're providing internship opportunities for students that are in the NSLS. And we're really proud to say that just recently, this past fall, we won the 2025 Excellence in Innovation Award at the NSLS National Leadership Summit. We've also been nominated for Chapter of the Year and Executive Board Member of the Year. So it's a really great national leadership society, but we are very engaged not only on our campus here at Coastal, but in our community. So a couple of the program requirements of COAST. First of all, students have to attend just one of the Till Nation orientation summer sessions. So you'll see that on our webpage. It's either July 7th, 8th, or 9th. They can pick one of those. Then they would attend a COAST virtual orientation meeting where we talk a little bit more in depth about the program. During the summer, they'll take a 1 credit hour University 154 class called Fundamentals of Integrative Learning. So it's designed by our curriculum coordinator. Our peer leaders will be involved in that, and so will our academic coaches. Once they get through that 1 credit hour course that's already going to be on their transcript, they get to move to campus early and participate in the COAST Welcome Week. So we'll have more details about that. Once they do that, then in the fall, we'll have a designated course that they'll take through the Coastal Student Success Center during the fall, and then another one in the spring. So we'll have more information about those 2 courses, but they just take those extra courses. And yes, they do count towards their degree, and they would take care of elective credits. Also during their time, they'll attend a minimum of 2 academic coaching meetings each semester. They'll attend weekly peer leader facilitated study halls, and those weekly study halls are only 1 hour a week, and we work with students with their schedules. And then just at the end, just no conduct violations. So that's pretty much the program requirements. They would just take 1 extra class each semester, but essentially they're doing everything that any other student here at Coastal does. They just have that additional academic and personal support while they're here. So what happens if they don't meet those minimum requirements that I just listed? Just like any other student here at Coastal, if they don't earn at least a 2.0 GPA at the end of the fall semester, they end up on academic probation. The reason we don't wait until a student finishes their first full year at Coastal, if they've earned probation, is because we don't want them to, lose a scholarship or, no longer be eligible for financial aid. So after that first semester, we want to make sure that we give them their support that they need in the spring, so they end up getting off of probation and back in good academic standing going into that following fall. So the program that we have is called our SOAR program. It's called Student Opportunity for Academic Recovery. So with that, during the spring, and this is only if they don't, earn that 2.0, we're still there to support them. They just take an ACE 101 course, and they meet with an academic coach 4 times during that semester that they're on probation. And what I will say is that we have had this program since fall of 2018, and we have seen significant results with students that follow, kind of the policy. They meet with their coach, they go to that class, and they end up not only getting off academic probation, but their overall GPA increases at least 1.4 points. But we're hoping that, they do everything, take advantage of everything that we have, and that typically will not happen. So very quickly, other academic resources that we have at Coastal, 100% for free. It's for all students. We have a math learning center, a writing center, and our academic coaching department. So with our math learning center, if you have students that are struggling in math, we have one-on-one tutoring and group tutoring. They provide support in all math courses from college algebra to pre-cal, calculus, and trigonometry. There's student tutors, we have grad assistant tutors, and we have even faculty and professional tutors that can help your students. We also have a writing center, and all of these are all on the same hallway in Thompson Library upstairs here at Coastal. So with our writing center, also you can get one-on-one writing consultations. It does not matter the major, it's not specifically for English. However, there are specific workshops catered to those English 101 and 102 classes, and they'll assist with any writing assignment from freshmen all the way to graduate students. But this is something that we take a lot of pride in, that we do offer both of these to our students, and students in Coast will get this. Another thing that we have is our academic coaching department. With our academic coaching department, these are professional academic coaches. They all have master's degrees. Some of them have our PhDs. I know some schools call academic coaches are typically like their peer student leaders. That's something that we have separate. So these are professional academic coaches, and they help students kind of plan and manage their time at Coastal. They help them with anything from classroom strategies, note-taking, connecting them to resources, talking about long and short-term goals. Pretty much a lot of those kind of soft skills that students really need to be successful. They're not going to be necessarily your content experts because we have departmental tutoring on campus, but they're going to help students through any kind of like academic anxiety, test anxiety, how to learn online, how to manage their time. We also now have an education access specialist, and Emily Noor's on this call today as well. And our education access specialist now provides that academic support, those services and interventions in more of an intensive academic support for at-risk students with disabilities that may impact their learning and their education here at Coastal. So all of that support is there for students, not only at Coastal, but specifically in the COAST program. And the last slide that I'll go over before I kind of hand it over to Mr. Tollison is this is a question we get quite often. And I think this might resonate with you guys as guidance counselors, in high school. If I had an IEP or a 504 plan in high school, what do I do in college? A lot of students think that whatever their plan is from high school naturally transfers over to college, and that's not the case. So if you have students that have an IEP or a 504 and they're looking for that, accommodations when they come to college, that additional academic support, we always ask them connect with our Accessibility Disability Services office. They provide academic, housing, and dining accommodations. I've just listed a few of the accommodations, but there is a long list of accommodations that they provide to students, and the Coastal Student Success Center works very closely with our Accessibility Disability Services office. So just want to let you know that we do have that here at Coastal. And that is something that if a student's coming into the COAST program, that we are, making sure they get all the support that they need. And I've also put their contact information here. So that's kind of briefly, I know I kind of went through that quick about the COAST program, but I will now kind of turn it over to Mr. Tollison to talk a little bit about our bridge program that we have with Horry Georgetown Technical College.
Thank you, Dr. Holland. Yeah, so the first off, I'll say this about our bridge program. I'll give you a little overview here. We'll talk about some of those benefits and just the logistics of how it works. I regularly get some phone calls from guidance counselors who are asking me about this. They're working individually with the student. They're trying to get some information on this. So there's not a direct pathway to apply for our bridge program. You have to apply for regular first-year admission at Coastal Carolina, and the admissions office is looking for students that are just at or slightly below the admission standards for that year. And so they're going to send out invites, and they're getting ready to do that in the next few weeks. So you might have some students who get that bridge invite, and I want to just give you a little bit of overview so maybe you can help walk them through that process of what it will look like, because it is a unique experience, but it's one that most of our students really enjoy, and it's got a lot of benefits to it. So just an overview of the program. So it's a partnership between Coastal Carolina and Horry Georgetown Technical College that offers a year-long, comprehensive, rigorous curriculum, really just to kind of get those students ready to get over to Coastal and succeed there beginning in their second year. The unique thing about our bridge program, I know we have some others, at least in the state of South Carolina, that's very similar to this. Probably the best advantage we have is that Horry Georgetown Tech sits directly across the street from Coastal Carolina. So when our students are residing on Coastal's campus, they're just walking across the street to get over to Horry Georgetown Tech for their courses. So it operates functionally much like some of the other universities do with Bridge program, but that proximity between both schools makes it a really unique experience. So the number one thing about that is it is residential. Students are living on campus at Coastal, or at least have that opportunity to if they are outside of our area and don't commute to campus. However, they're taking most of their core classes at Horry Georgetown Technical College for their fall and spring semester of their freshman year. We also have them enrolled in a couple of Coastal courses. Dr. Holland mentioned some of those for the COAST program, and we sort of parallel some of those things as well. The Bridge program will actually take a total for next year, we're looking at 6 credit hours, an orientation course. Because orientation is a little bit different for our bridge program. We don't send them to the summer orientations at Coastal. Instead, we wait until they arrive on campus in the fall. And that first week in August before their classes begin, we're going to run a 1-week sort of intense orientation course in which they'll get a 1-hour credit on their Coastal transcript. During the fall semester, in addition to taking their core classes, and we'll look at some of those here in just a moment, they will take a University 154 class, and that is really about how to be successful as a college student. That's understanding where your resources are, understanding how to manage your time, understanding how to get plugged into the community, and just be successful during that first year. And then lastly, in the spring semester, along with their Horry Georgetown classes, they're taking a University 150 course, which is a career exploration course. So getting them thinking about their majors over at Coastal, getting them ready for that transfer process, and thinking about life beyond college. There are some minimum requirements that are important, and this is, really like we have to explain this in detail to our students and our parents. But students must earn, at least in the fall and spring combined, they must earn at least 21 transferable credit hours and have a minimum GPA of 2.25 to successfully bridge over to Coastal for their second year. Students are going to be eligible to earn over 30 credit hours and, of course, up to a 4.0 GPA. But those are the minimum standards, and students that fall below those numbers, will try to figure out some alternate plans for those students. But we want everybody to meet those minimums so that they can stay on track to graduate in 4 years and be over at Coastal starting in their second year. Also a benefit too is that if they do meet that minimum credit hour of 21 and have a B average, so a 3.0 GPA at the end of their first year, they're going to be eligible for a merit scholarship over at Coastal, which is going to be, a big cost savings in the long run once they get there. But there's also some cost savings in the bridge year that we'll get to here in just a moment. So these benefits of the Bridge program, obviously I mentioned that the biggest one we have is that you can live on campus and participate in student life activities and organizations and really be a Coastal student. And we don't segregate our Bridge students and put them in a separate residence hall by themselves tucked away. They can live with anyone, Bridge student, non-Bridge student, in any residence hall. They go through the same room selection process that any Coastal student would. They are guaranteed admission, and so that's a big difference from just a general transfer. So I work partly at Coastal, partly at Horry Georgetown Tech, and Horry Georgetown Tech students who are general transfers have to apply for transfer admission and may not be admitted based on their academic standard. Bridge students are guaranteed admission, so that is certainly a benefit. That room selection process, I mentioned that before. The assigned peer leaders, very much like what Dr. Holland mentioned with the COAST program, we have our peer leaders assigned to our Bridge program. We love using some of our former Bridge students who've successfully gotten over to Coastal to come back and be student mentors for our current Bridge students. As I mentioned, student life is wide open for these Bridge students. Every student organization and club and activity is completely open and accessible for those students. There are only a couple of exceptions, and those really come down to things like NCAA sports. Nationally sanctioned club sports is a little different than intramurals because they travel to other locations and they're sanctioned by national organizations. Greek life, fraternities, sororities, and student employment. Those are the only specific things that are off limits to a Bridge student, but they are certainly eligible to participate in any of those once they fully transfer after that Bridge year. We got fitness center access at both schools. They can have access to that. Free admission to Coastal sporting events. They got parking on both campuses. And the tuition savings is really kind of a big benefit. And so if there's any price sensitive students that you're talking to, this is certainly a way to kind of manage those cost savings because students in the Bridge program, that while they will pay for housing and meals over at Coastal Carolina, they will pay Horry Georgetown's tuition rate, which is cheaper. And we'll take a look at that on the next slide. So we have a slide here that shows you the chart. We have just posted this to our website recently that was updated. It's a little hard to see here, but you guys are welcome to go and look at it more in detail on the website. But this gives a breakdown of sort of what a Bridge student is going to be charged in terms of housing, meals, Bridge specific fees, and tuition at Horry Georgetown Tech. The big thing right there, and I wrote down some facts and some figures here over on the right side of that chart. Coastal Carolina's semester tuition. All right, so we're excluding room and housing, meals, things like that. And you can see the Bridge tuition per semester and the charges for those, whether the student is in county, in Horry or Georgetown counties, whether they're out of the county but in South Carolina or out of state. And then when you take those 2 semesters and add those together, you're looking at yearly savings here for an in-state student. Being in the Bridge program is going to save you over $6,000 from being a traditional freshman over at Coastal. If you're out of state, there's huge savings. We're talking about upwards to $19,000 that a student's going to save in that first year by paying Horry Georgetown Tech's tuition rate versus paying Coastal's tuition. So certainly some financial advantages there. So we'll talk real quick here about the courses and kind of the way we track our students through this program. Students, they will they will put down a major when they apply for admission at Coastal Carolina, but that gets temporarily put on hold when they enter the Bridge program. And the reason being, we've got to get them transferable courses that get over to Coastal that count for graduation requirements there, that count for what we call the core curriculum, the general ed requirements. And so we put them in the Associate of Arts program. Most of our students are not going to stay for 2 full years and graduate with that associate's. The goal of our students is to get them over to Coastal after 1. But that program, the Associate of Arts, includes the most transferable courses that fit Coastal's core curriculum. And so I've got a list here of just some courses you can browse through of what most of our students are taking. So regardless of major, whether you're an English major, business, or psychology, you're going to take primarily a lot of similar courses during those first 2 semesters. We will try to personalize and tailor this a little bit. So a student who wants to go into nursing, for instance, we'll try to get them into some biology, some anatomy classes. And we'll try to make sure our future business majors can get into maybe an intro accounting or economics class if that's something that's going to help them later on. But for one benefit, a lot of our Bridge students are just kind of unsure of what they want to do major-wise and career-wise. And it really sort of gives them an opportunity to think about it, talk to people, just conversations with roommates and friends and professors, just to get a feel for where they want to go when they get to Coastal. So yeah, that's the curriculum for the most part, and we work with students. I work directly with students to get them enrolled in those courses in the fall and spring semester. And then lastly, here on our very last slide, we've got just some of that support resources that are offered. As Dr. Holland mentioned, the Coastal Writing Center, Math Center, and Academic Coaching Department are all available to our Bridge students. Horry Georgetown Tech also has a Student Success and Tutoring Center, which offers tutoring services for pretty much any course, particularly for writing and math, which are the most common, and academic coaching there as well. So we plug into resources on both campuses. And then at the very bottom, like my position as the coordinator, I'm primarily the academic advisor. But what I'm really here for is to ensure that our students succeed, that they're taking courses that transfer over to Coastal that's going to get them to that next step and where they want to go. So I got a long list of things that I regularly do to help students. And really, some of those things like interim grades and academic alerts. And we're here to not just say, here's your classes, good luck this semester, we'll see you next semester during registration, but we're following up with these students. I've been in communication today with professors who are telling me specifics about students. Hey, I've got an attendance issue. We've got some students who are struggling here or there. We get that communication a lot. We collaborate with our faculty really well. We work with our tutoring centers well, our academic alert systems that professors can put in if they're concerned about grades or attendance. And it's just really a collaborative environment. We can help our students succeed. So we are really focused on success and trying to get them eligible to get over to Coastal after that first year. But that pretty much is a summary of our Bridge program. I'll be glad to answer any questions after this session is over. Or if you have questions, feel free to email me or look on our website that we've just recently updated.
All right, thank you, Mr. Tollison. That's great news about the Bridge program and everything that it has to offer. I do believe it's very, very unique program that we have here. So we are now going to go over to Dr. Debbie Connor, our Higher Education and Community Engagement Coordinator, Clinical Professor, to talk a little bit about our new major and the minors in our Higher Education and Community Engagement major.
Hey, thank you, Dr. Holland. So just briefly, I appreciate the opportunity. Coastal is innovative, and every year we continue to add new majors based on student interest, changes in job market, etc. And so higher education and community engagement is just one of those innovations that we have at CCU, and I'm the program coordinator for that, for this undergraduate major. And it is designed for students that are interested in leading in education in non-traditional environments, which means outside of the K-12 area. And so the program itself, to give you an idea, currently I have my first group of seniors that transferred into the program. I have students that are interning with the YMCA in early childhood. I have a student working with United Way. I have a student working with community engagement with the city of Myrtle Beach. I have a student interning in academic success and academic coaching on CCU campus. So this allows students to really hone in on their interest in educational environments and look for ways that they might teach in that environment or work in supporting education in the community environment or in higher education. And students are able, it's very interdisciplinary. And oftentimes students think, oh, I'm going to do X, and they get into that field and decide, oh, maybe that's not for me. And one unique thing about this program is because it is not offered, really is so unique that we are now part of the common market. And the common market, for those of you who are, hopefully you're familiar with this, if you're in a Southern Regional state that is part of our SREB, students can actually apply to this program. And even in their freshman year, if approved, they can receive in-state tuition, even if they are out-of-state students with this major. And that sets this up as being a great win for a lot of families. Many of the CCU academic common market majors do not allow students to receive the academic common market pricing until they are fully, if they're a pre-major, they can't get that pricing until they're admitted fully into the major, which usually happens sophomore or junior year. So this program is very unique and very exciting because students are digging into sustainability issues in community, talking about solving community issues, and developing an interest in nonprofit work as well as higher education. Hope that was brief enough.
Yes, I just realized I was on mute. I was just saying thank you so much for presenting that. That's wonderful, and I can even pitch it. I'm in my third class teaching in the program, and it is extremely exciting. And I think we have a lot of students that are coming over in the Bridge program interested in it, and same with students that were in our SEAL program, but I know in our Coast program. So I did want to put this our contact information. I know we're going to open it up for some questions. We can check the chat, but what I wanted to say is if you know students that you think might be interested in coming to Coastal Carolina, but they're not sure, will I be able to get into Coastal? What are those avenues? We definitely have our Bridge program and our Coast program that are perfect avenues to get a student here at Coastal. We, like Dr. Connor said, we're very innovative in our programs. So I wanted to make sure that you knew about the new higher education and community engagement program. So I've got our emails up here. And again, I am recording this so we can put this out in just a second. I am going to open it up to questions, but give me a second. I'm going to stop sharing so I can see everybody and check our chat to see if there's any questions in the chat, or if any folks have any, general questions about any of these programs. I just wanted to open the floor up right now for any questions.
My apologies if I missed this, but are students automatically considered for all these programs, or is it something a student has to initiate?
Typically, and Dr. McKinney, if you can jump in, but to be considered for any of these programs, if you're talking about the Bridge program or the Coast program, a student needs to first apply to Coastal. I believe previously there were boxes that they could check to say, if I'm not accepted right out at Coastal, would I be interested in the Bridge program or the Coast program? And I think that they can indicate their interest just in case they're not, fully admitted to Coastal. So what we always say is that even if you're interested in either one of these programs, apply to Coastal first.
Yeah, and Dr. Holland touched on it, definitely. But yeah, first you have to apply to the university. And then either of these programs, like she said, and I'm basically repeating what she said, is that they're for students who may not meet the full academic requirements to be admitted to Coastal, but we still believe that they have that capability to be successful at Coastal. So we still want to give them an opportunity by admitting them into one of these essentially conditional accept programs.
Octavius, or do you want Tron?
Either one is fine.
Okay.
Quick question. I know you kind of hinted on this. I have some students that applied and they were deferred. Does that sound like they would be deferred to the Coastal Bridge program, or is it likely that they would need to reapply in the spring?
Great question. They were deferred, so it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be invited to either Coast or Bridge. We're going through those deferrals right now, those student applications, so they should be hearing a decision soon. But again, that doesn't mean that because they got deferred, they're automatically being invited into one of those programs. They may send in senior year grades and we may see those that they've improved their senior year. We may fully admit them. So it just depends on where they fall academically at this time.
So along those same lines, in Slate, I can see the decision. So will it show in Slate if a student is being considered for one of the other, like a bridge program, or no?
No.
I think it'd just be helpful as a counselor to know if any of my students are being considered. Teenagers don't read, parents don't read. So if you could share that information with us, my guess is, some students, yes, know about I'm from Minnesota. We're not going to know probably as much as maybe someone who's closer to your school. It'd just be helpful for me to answer questions or maybe just talk to the student more about this as an option.
Sure. I would say that if a student is deferred, then there is a possibility that they will be invited to one of these programs. There's always that possibility. So when we meet with high school counselors, we always make sure that they're informed of these programs, which is great that Dr. Holland is doing this, because if they are deferred, then they may get into one of those. But we don't show that ahead of time, I guess.
Thank you.
These are really, really good questions. And what I'll say is that, once those decisions are made, I know that I receive reports, and so does Mr. Tollison, that will show us who all the students are that were invited into, whether it's the Bridge program or the Coast program. And then at that time, I know we start reaching out to those students to provide them any more information. Do they have questions about the program? We will even have in the next couple of weeks, once we start to see those invitations and those reports, we will have information sessions with students who were invited, so they can ask us any detailed questions about those programs and that type of thing. So I would say keep an eye out for that. That's something that we started last year, and we thought it went really well to do those separate info sessions. And then in the summertime, once we know all those students who have said, hey, I want to take advantage of the Bridge program or the Coast program, we do even more virtual meetings with those students and any family members to answer any more detailed questions, so that by the time, if you're in the Coast program and you're coming to orientation, everything that's going on. If you're doing the Bridge program, you have all the information. So we have multiple sessions. So I would say, it won't be too much longer. We'll start to get those reports, and then we'll start reaching out to students. any other questions? I think we did a good job explaining everything. Tell you what we're going to do, I'm going to turn this into a YouTube link. I'm going to send it out later today. Also, if you have any other questions, you can email us directly. Our websites are now completely updated. Morgan Marshall, she's behind the camera right now, but she has done an amazing job updating all of our websites. So we're really proud of that. So make sure to check that out. But yeah, I will share the slides. Those are part of the presentation. So that will definitely go out. Thank you guys for joining us today. I really appreciate it and hope to hear from you guys soon. Hope to see your students in the fall.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
You too.